Welcome back to the First, the Last, the Nerdom, the podcast where we dig into the strange, the stylish, and the stories that keep the nerd world spinning. And this week we're returning to our special series we like to call Binge Worthy. Here's how it works: we pick a TV show we're curious about, watch the first few episodes, and then we decide, is it binge worthy or does it get left behind? This time we're stepping into the world of spies, but not the glamorous gadget wielding James Bond type. No, we're talking about screw ups, the washouts, the agents who have made one mistake too many. That's the world of Apple TV Plus is acclaimed series of slow horses, led by the brilliantly gruff Gary Oldman as Jackson Lamb, a foul-mouthed, chain-smoking, seemingly washed up MI5 veteran. Slow Horses follows a team of disgraced spies banished to Slough House, where careers go to die. But when these so called misfits stumble into a real conspiracy, they just might be the only ones who can save the day if they don't get kill each other first. We'll be talking about the show's blend of sharp writing, dark humor, and nail-biting tension, and asking the big question: do these slow horses make the fast binging? So grab your classified files, watch your back, and don't trust anyone, because this week on Binge Worthy, we're infiltrating slow horses right here on the First, the Last, the Nerdom. And I'm Tom, and I'm here with Mike. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I was so excited to be able to get to this, and this is because I knew nothing about. I mean, what you told me about it over the years, from like start to finish. And I know you kind of were a latecomer a little bit with this anyway, but
Absolutely.
um, this is why I love, generally speaking, Apple TV has some really good quality stuff, whether it's family comedy or family drama or whatever, or Jason Momoa doing Jason Momoa stuff. That stuff's pretty cool too. But they got some really good sci-fi too, which I love. I love
Mhm.
that sci-fi drama. They're all first-class citizens, and it kind of feels like the quality of this reminds me of, like, The Sopranos or HBO or The Wire. Only
Mhm.
even better in its own kind of way. So I was happy that we did, and I did go a little deeper than the three that we normally do, which is great.
Mhm.
If we get to those, that's great. If not, we keep the three. We'll see. But I gotta
Mhm.
say thank you, Thomas, for picking this one, because this one was like. This is one that, like, you're so happy to find, and then you're like, oh, how many seasons are left? Oh, really? So it's only gonna get
It's like excellent, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I got cued into this this year. Yeah, the second season of Severance came out. I was big in I was a latecomer to Severance as well. I heard so many people talking about the first season, but at that point there really wasn't a whole lot to watch on Apple, and it's like I don't know if I want Apple just for Severance. So I it came out on Blu-ray. I picked up the Blu-ray, really enjoyed, because I'm the physical media guy. I enjoyed Severance season one on Blu-ray, and then I'd waited for all the seasons to come out on for season two of Severance. So I jumped in and watched those, and I was like, well, I have it for a month, let's check out some other things. I'd been reading about different things on Apple TV that I might like. Slow Horses kind of stood out to me, and yeah, like you, I took to it like fish to water. This is yeah, this show is yeah, I'm not really into spies, but this isn't really a spy show. It is, but it isn't. There's a lot of things going on with it, and I fell in love with the show. I found out that it was based on a book series by Mick Heron, and
That
I've
would make
read all
sense.
of the books. I've read all the books. There's like three other books that are tangentially that involves sort of kind of outlaying characters, and I read all three of those, and yeah, I'm in deep into the whole slow horses thing. So So yeah, I'll talk about it as much as you want to talk
Uh,
about it.
Absolutely. And before we get too much here at the top of the 5 minute mark here, we'll just do a quick plug and we'll go down the line here. We are the First Last the Nerdom. You can find us at FirstLastNerdom.com, where you can check out the last 10 of our videos that we just put out. You know what? I didn't refresh this one. This should show our last one. Yep, there it is. I love it when it works. Also, home base on YouTube at First Last Nerdom. I'll hand it back to you, Tom, for the socials.
Yeah, yeah, I promote ourselves on different things. Everybody's favorite Reddit. I'm on there. So if you love Reddit, you might see me stumbling around there on various ones. You may have be coming from us from Reddit. If you, I'll probably find somewhere to promote slow horses there. So if you're coming from Reddit, hey, how you doing? But yeah, I'm there promoting our stuff wherever subreddit will have me. I'm also on X. On both places, I'm under FirstLastNerdom. I promote our stuff on X. Any of our latest videos, I'll let you know about them on there, so you could decide whether or not you want to check it out. I'm the physical media guy, so I'll promote the the latest thing I've got. Like I just recently picked up Universal Classic Monsters, and I just watched Dracula, which I love, but I love seeing it again. Also picked up a few Asian movies as well, but yeah, definitely a little obscure movies. But I'll toss it back to Mike.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm also available on X at ApeIt_Ink. You can also find me on ApeIt.Ink as well. Long form content, all that good. All good, good, good. Even better, this week's pick for binge worthy or not, I'm pretty sure you can glean from Thomas and I's excitement for this. The answer is a solid hell yes. This is just an easy one. I can't believe that I felt this is the kind of the good thing of like living under a rock, I guess. Like where you you kind of like whereas I'm more plugged into the terminally online and other parts of life than I am other parts. So I guess there is the work in security or work in technology and all that stuff. You got to be you kind of got to pay attention to some news, not all the news, but some. But I definitely am not in the river of pop culture or what's cool, what's not, whatever. But thank goodness that we have this thing called Apple TV, and that they're making things like this with Gary Oldman. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, we get to see these characters. Gary Oldman, who is Jackson Lamb, he's the head of Slough House and Slough House, and Jack Lowden as River Cartwright. He's kind of like this dashing-ish, kind of agent, MI5 agent.
He would,
but he's but the
yeah.
thing
In
is,
another world, he would be the in another world he would be the James Bond
yeah,
character.
right.
But yeah, he's one of the his enthusiasm kind of outweighs his mental acuity sometimes.
Yeah, and yeah, you see these guys, and you realize real quick that these are kind of the fuck ups, the fuck ups, the disgrace.
Yeah,
Like they're kind of like they park in here. Like you get that real. They build up that
yeah.
really, really good, really, really well. I was gonna say too. There's I love their names too. Their names are so they're so British, but also it works. You just don't quite question it, and that it won't quite get into the plot per se, but like there are a lot. There's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching all of this stuff kind of play out. But
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
excuse me.
it's one of those. Yeah, it's the show. After seeing this show, I was so enthused about it, so happy with seeing it. I kept telling everybody about it. You gotta watch the show, but there's there's the plus that it's on Apple TV and it's one of its premiere shows.
Right.
So it's gotten so many seasons to it. But also a lot of people don't have Apple TV, so there's that barrier of entry. And also one thing, we're giving the Apple a lot of love, and deservedly so since they've taken a chance on these cool shows. But when I got a nasty jump scare when I came back to the Apple TV. They raised their price by about $3, and I was like, come on, guys, really? But yeah, that was everybody's raising their prices. It's not just Apple. I know Hulu at the end of the months are bumping up their prices as well. But yeah, it's just one of those things, um if that's one of the reasons why I'm a physical media guy. I've got my, and once you buy your movie, there's no more. They don't come back at you for another couple of bucks. A month later, once you got your movie, you got it. But but yeah, but yeah, I came back because of the newest season. Season five's out currently.
Right.
It's coming out. The second episode came out last week.
Okay.
So I thought it would be a great time to revisit the beginning of the show and introduce it to Mike,
Absolutely.
because he hasn't seen it yet. A cast of wonderful characters. Jackson Lamb may be one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. I mean, he's got the lines. He's got that gruff anti-PC. He
Right.
says what he wants.
Right.
Devil may care. He's a he's kind of at the lowest rung he could be at, both physically and work wise. He's but he seems to be comfortable with where he's at. He's not, maybe a little bit bitter, but he bears it with
Hard
a
boiled.
grin,
Yeah.
a grin or a belch or a fart.
Oh
He lets
yeah.
all of he's a man of excesses.
Oh God.
And he doesn't mind having his whiskey bottle up on his desk and taking a little finger of whiskey as he works through his day.
Well, it's funny because like they this kind of you set it sets the table for these characters who are pros when it comes to Jackson Lamb. Although he's crude, crass, I guess they would say, but this also kind of it's a portrayal of dysfunction. Not only of these people, but like of also of their whole kind of clown show of a ministry of intelligence or whatever. Like they all kind of wear clown shoes, like a little bit here and there, but not like buffoonery, like more like backstabbing. Like this is a little bit further out. I'm not really giving anything away, but like there are ambitions and ambitions with this, so it's very what was it, Machiavellian. That's right. A little bit.
Yep.
It's got kind of got that back edge to it too, where you kind of see everybody's in their position and there's a reason for it. And half the fun
Right.
is getting to that reason, like whether it's held over somebody's head a little bit or it's, some other kind of thing, like where it's just like where the big boss just doesn't even care. Like he just is like, he kicks Cartwright square in the ass every chance he gets. Like, it's funny.
Yeah, it's team building. It's team breaking apart.
Right.
And if you survive, then you meet Lamb's expectations. But yeah, Lamb pulls no punches, and he punches below the belt when he can. But yeah, this group of misfits, and that's one of the things that pulls you in, is that this is a group of misfits agents. With James Bond, you can kind of live vicariously through him. He's the perfect guy. He gets the girl. He solves the mystery. He fights all the bad guys, no blemishes whatsoever. But if you were actually in James Bond's shoes, you might stumble, you might do something stupid, like one of the characters on this, Ben Harper. He accidentally left like a USB drive of highly classified information on the tube, as they call it, the subway, and someone found it, and yeah, he got knocked down to Slough House. It's these characters are very relatable.
Human.
You go, okay, yeah, I could have done that on a
Right.
Monday, yeah, and I could have ended up in Slough House. These characters are very human. Jackson Lamb as a character is probably cranked up to 11, but you also the characters around him have to be equally or be as interesting as Lamb, and they are. River, he's like I said, he's sort of he's what he has the potential to become a James Bond, but he's kind of messed up like the rest of us. He does have his foibles, and he's very 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 likable and relatable at the same time. And then Catherine Standish, the ever suffering secretary to Lamb. She's a former alcoholic, recovering alcoholic, that Lamb keeps offering
Catherine
an
Standish.
extra cup of Catherine Standish, a little sip of whiskey now and again to to challenge her.
He
But
he is a hard ass of the oldest caliber with his people. But it is funny how
yeah.
like we kind of
Mhm.
commented. I commented like offline here before we got online, and I was like, he said a line in like second or third episode, and he said something like, "Are you as stupid?" It's like explaining Norway to a dog. Like
Yeah.
it's just perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, and the writing on the show is absolutely stellar, and a lot of
Really
it's
sharp.
owed
Yeah.
to, everything that Jackson Lamb says that is very funny is taken directly from the book Slow Horses. The first season is based off the first book, Slow Horses, by Mick Huron. I believe that's how you say his last name there.
Yep.
But yeah, he's an excellent writer. I've like I said, I was very taken with the show, and I was like, I gotta follow up and read the books. This is the 15th anniversary book that just came out. This is the UK edition, and let me open this
UK.
up and Yukai, and I like
Oh,
the
that's cool.
inset. You got a shot of his desk there with the whiskey and a cigarette. But and also the pages are colored very nicely as
That's cool.
well. But really cool thing is signed by Mick Herron.
That is cool.
So yeah, that's very nice. Unfortunately, this is sold out on the UK Amazon site. So it's going for a bit much. It was actually reasonably priced when it first came out. Uh, Barnes and Nobles has their a version of the US version of a sign. I don't really care for the cover, but if you want a signed copy of Slow Horses, it's on pre-order. I think it's like $40 on Barnes and
Okay.
Noble site. Also on Barnes and Nobles, I'll recommend this. The latest ninth book, Clown Town,
Okay.
is also available and in a signed version as well. So
Oh,
I've got the first and the latest copy signed by him. The signed copies are still available. They're the same price as the regular hardback. So jump over on Barnes and Nobles. Barnes and Nobles actually has a lot of cool books that are signed. A lot they are limited, so they do sell out. So if you're keen on getting this signed copy, definitely go there and get it now. I There's a book by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. His book King Sorrow is coming up, and I think it's like $10 more, but you can get that signed as well. So
well,
so yeah, if you're keen on an author and they have an upcoming book coming out or just released, go ahead and check and see if Barnes and Nobles has a signed copy. I'm always promoting
yep.
anything that's not Amazon.
Never a
So,
bad idea, especially if it's an author you really love. I'll just say
uh
that because that
but
once that opportunity, I mean, and then
mhm.
20 years when other nerds are making videos about our videos. Oh
Absolutely,
man,
but
no,
yeah. Yeah, it's really cool to have a couple of books signed by him because he's become one of my favorite authors. And again, each of the seasons are based on one of the novels. So the first season's based on the first book, Slow Horses, and it's interesting to watch the show and then read the book because they're both a creature in and of themselves. They basically tell the same story, but for television you do need to amp up the action a little bit, maybe tone down some of the more quieter moments on the book. So the book's the book, and this is the show. You can understand what changes they made for the show, because again, that I'll say like the first opening scene where River is going through his training.
The
You
airport.
don't know
Yep.
it's yeah, at the airport. A lot more action packed
Hmm.
in the show than the book.
Oh,
And also the books run about 300 to 350 pages. So actually in the show each season's 6 episodes, and 6 episodes, maybe a little bit more than what a 300 page book would cover. So they have to expand it out a little bit. But that's good because you get a little bit more with the other characters.
yeah.
And again, the characters are so interesting that you want more of them,
I
and so
you
it's a nice compliment, from both the book and the show.
and you have that feeling with most all of the characters too. Like even if they're like they might
Mhm,
be minor on the side or whatever, you still want to know more.
mhm,
But I was gonna say, River Cartwright's like Jack Lowden plays him, and
uh-huh.
he kind of he plays him with this desperate need to prove himself,
Right,
but
yeah, he's
that
got a
like
chip on his shoulder, yeah.
that genuinely feels pathetic and awkward at times on
Mhm,
purpose, like where that's at,
mhm,
and then you see other people revel in it because he kind of wears it
mhm,
on his sleeve for whatever reason.
mhm,
But that patheticness kind of reminded me of the
mhm,
boys in Huey, and
mhm.
that character
Oh, yeah.
of like
Mhm,
how kind of like the first few seasons. I'm not giving anything away really. Like
mhm,
he kind of plays this like pathetic little
mhm.
kind of bitch character, and then eventually he kind of comes into his own. But anyway, I have no doubt that
Mhm,
you would also see that kind of arc. You can kind of see there like when he kind
mhm,
of burns through like, and he kind of lets his
mhm.
guard down and quits sniveling a little bit.
Yeah,
Like you can
yeah.
see there's a core of a solid person there. It's just not quite
Yeah.
there yet.
Right, and he's also living in the shadow of his father, David Cartwright,
Sure.
played expertly by Jonathan Pryce on the show, which River lovingly calls him old bastard, the old bastard,
Yeah.
OB for short. But yeah, but yeah, so again, there's all the characters are very very interesting. In the show, River kind of becomes like the center stage, at least for the first season. And something in the subsequent seasons, it's sort of like the main character. Although in the book, it's a little bit more balanced. You do get a everybody has a chance to shine within the book. Also, if you're if you're like me, you're always kind of wondering what's the characters thinking about. So the obviously the book gets a little bit more into the different characters' heads, and you got especially with the Roddy Ho character, or the Rod Man, the tech guy, the IT guy.
Oh, right.
You get to Roddy,
Right.
the Rod Man. One of my favorite. All the characters are my favorite characters in the show, but yeah, Roddy gets a little bit more room to shine in the books. So if you want a little bit more to know, and then one of the great things about this show and the books is that you want to know more about the characters.
Right.
Jackson Lamb, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg with him with that character, and there's a lot of deep history with that character. He's seen some shit, he's and he's not talking about it. So you got to kind of dig in to try to figure out what his history is, and the books really dive into it. There's a book that came out a year or two ago called The Secret Hours. I think it's called Secret Hours. But that kind of goes deep into his past, when he was working um down in Germany, when the wall was coming down.
Well, they
Mhm,
do drop copious amounts of backstory here and there. Like there is a
yeah.
a scene with his dad, or I think maybe it's not his dad. Anyway, I can't remember, but
Mhm,
it's like where the rules or maybe it's not with him. It's with the father and the son, the Cartwrights. He says
mhm,
you have to cover your ass in London, and you have to
Yeah.
you have to know the rules in
Yeah.
Moscow or something like that. But anyway,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah. You got to play. Yeah, there's Moscow rules and
right,
London rules. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Yeah, and there's even if it's made up, there's a lot of spy jargon that is said in the show and also in the books that feel authentic. Neither Mike or I are spies, or are we? But but the world
Very
seems
good ones.
authentic. Yeah, yeah. There's the things that draw you into the show is the characters initially. They're wonderful characters. There's also a great story going on. You also have the office dynamic. These these agents are the screw ups, so they don't normally get like the cool beefy spy assignments. They're basically office workers. So you have that office dynamic where they're kind of bickering like office workers do. So you have kind of shades of the
It
office kind of
it's
humor
it's so
plays
funny.
off.
Well, it's so funny how they do a hard wink and a nod at every other British comedy, and we've seen them and we've talked about them recently too this past
Hmm.
year. But
Hmm.
like, how can you not have something in the UK and then have not some kind of like a bad
Hmm.
down to even like avoiding the office nerd, like the Toby of the Office or
Hmm.
whatever, like that guy. But it's just
Hmm.
funny because that also works
Hmm.
too. I was gonna say, but anyway, go on. Sorry, I
Hmm.
just had a comment on
But
that.
yeah, yeah, and they did a good job of translating the book, all of like I said, all of the wonderful dialogue and back and forth, and the tension and the humor that are from that's in the book gets translated very well to the screen here on the TV show. Like I said, everything that's cool that that Jackson Lamb says he says in the book as well. It's all coming from the mind of Mick Herron. So yeah, but also they do a great job of translating it to TV
Right,
and adding in their own little twist as far as the action elements go.
right,
Like I said, they do beef that up quite a bit. But yeah, there's only one character from Saw House that's in the book that's not in the series, but she's so inconsequential that and she kind of disappears that you don't miss her on the show. So
okay,
they do a great job. The characters are pretty one to one. There are some that they've kind of changed a little bit. And I'll leave it there. Nothing egregious to where you go, that's not my characters. Though I did watch the show before the book, so people that read the book previously and had an image of the character in their mind
right.
may not feel the same way watching the show, go, that's not the character, which I appreciate as well. You
What?
do, especially if you love the thing, if you loved Slow Horses and it had been with you, because it came out like in the early 2010s. So if that's near and dear to your heart, any changes that a show makes, I can see where you would be up in arms about it.
Right. Well, I was gonna say, Kristen Scott Thomas is really good too as
Oh yeah.
Traverner.
Lady Di.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Lady Di. They call her Lady Di behind her
Well,
back, or if you're lamb in front of her face. But yeah.
right. Yeah, it's funny because you have the slow horses, which is also the nickname for these kind of these
Hmm.
not great, you know,
Hmm.
not great part MI5 agents, 007s, James Bond types,
Hmm.
the opposite of James Bond, but it's
Yeah,
funny because you have them and they're kind of pegged as these kind of has-beens or disgraced
yeah.
or
Never
something or
was. Yeah.
fuck ups,
Right.
whatever. Even Jackson Lamb was a fuck up
Hmm.
in his own right.
Hmm. Hmm.
But he's
Or
got
is he? No.
seniority and
Yeah.
he does
Yeah.
inspire loyalty in his team eventually, which is very interesting. But I was going to say the and this might get a little bit give away just a little bit, but not too much. But like when you kind of see who's in charge of the real MI5, and it's not first desk, it's second desk. So
Yeah.
very, very British. They
Yeah.
have something, so they literally, it's not the A team, it's the B team that is kind of having to
Mhm.
respond to this and like kind of trips over its own shoelaces a little bit. If not,
Right.
then somebody else is tying them again, so they do
Yeah.
trip up, but
Yeah.
not the way that they want to trip up. So it's just very
Right.
interesting to see kind of how like the second tier goes after the formerly
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great first tier.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's that's another thing I was going to bring up is yeah, you do have the park where all the premier MI5 agents are. That's the hub of everything of MI5 is the park. And again,
Right.
Slough House is where the misfits go. If they screw up, they end up at Slough House. British people are very cool with kind of name play and stuff.
Right.
So Slough House kind of plays with the word slow horses, and that's how slow horses come from that. But yeah, there's in your traditional spy show, like with James Bond, there he's jet setting from place to place. There's no thought about money. He's just about doing the job and having all these cool gadgets, getting things done. You never think about the real world aspects of things. But this show is very kind of ground down with reality
Yep.
in that yeah, like you were saying, the second desk is kind of running things, but everything is hinged on office politics,
Right.
on money, and she's trying to do something that may be a little bit off the books here. And then if she screws up, she has the scapegoats of slow horses to throw things on. So it's not like the real quote unquote agents are all that great. They have they could cast their the things that they get wrong onto the slow horses. So there's that interesting play of having them as the scapegoats. And each season, each book, you're going to how is these slow horses getting all these huge spy things to get into?
Right.
But it's usually because the the people at the park are screwing up, and inevitably ends up in the slow horse's lap to try to fix or get through. Um, that's so you've got that office dynamic. You have the spy element that's there as well, and I have to say Mick Heron is very good at making the office aspect of it, but also the spy aspect of it doesn't slack either. There's that really cool balance of having both elements playing a part, and you do get like a solid spy story as well going on with a lot of action. How far did you get into the series?
I got to
Uh,
five episodes deep, and I was like, oh shit, I only see six for the first season. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch that probably a little bit later tonight. Like
Gotcha.
once I finish out five, but yeah, most of five. But I couldn't help it.
Hmm.
I couldn't stop
Hmm.
at just at three, and I love how the story shapes up. And as soon as the episode ends, you're like, okay, whoa, let me do the next one.
Yeah.
That
Right. Yep.
classic binge. They know what they're doing. But
Hmm.
perfectly wonderful when they do it. When it hits
Hmm.
on all cylinders, fires on all cylinders. It's just funny how these characters develop, and you can definitely tell there's probably a very deep rapport between them as they thing. So I have no doubt by the time you get to
Hmm.
season three, which is famously like what I'd say a lot is, if you get to the third season and things are still going really really well, like that's a really good thing, because look at The Witcher. We had season one, we showed up.
Absolutely.
Season two, you didn't show up for, but I watched, or maybe we did both. Maybe maybe you did, or maybe we did grind through it. I think you had a harder time getting through it than I did, but and then three, or that's right. It was season three. It was like nope, and I was like nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
I gave it a chance, but this is
Yeah.
this is the beautiful thing that like when it works, and it works very well.
Mhm.
For
Yeah, in both in the books and the series, um Mick here and the writer, he has no qualms with killing off characters.
oh wow,
Yeah, this is a spy story. There is the office element, but like the office, you don't have to worry about your characters dying off. But in this, you do. There's that tension, where you go like, "Oh my God, you're not gonna kill their character off, are you? No, no, no." But yeah, there is that element. There's that sense of danger with this.
right,
So
okay,
you got the humor, with with the dialogue, the interaction, especially with Jackson Lamb. But he's not this cuddly teddy bear. He does have this
well.
fiery side to him.
Well, to be clear, his job his job is to get resignations. So
Hmm.
he is going to be deliberately unpleasant because he's trying to get forced resignation. He's trying to get these people to quit. But
Yeah,
when his people are genuinely threatened, he will protect them. So
right.
it's loyalty wrapped in cynicism, but it's still loyalty, and that's true with Baker and River Cartwright, and that's also true in Jackson Lamb and all the as you kind of get to see their one
Right.
on one in
Hmm.
situations and things like that. It's remarkable.
Yeah, there's a yeah, Jackson Lamb, like I said, is one of my favorite uh
Okay,
literary characters of all
that is
time.
awesome.
But yeah, there's the park element where the park shuts them off to Slough House, basically to put them you know buried under just monotonous paperwork to try to get them to quit. And again Jackson Lamb is there not to give them a soft landing. He's going to push them as well. But you got to understand that Jackson Lab's been through, like I said, he's seen some shit, and he's seen so many of his agents die over the years, that he's kind of built up this crusty layer. He doesn't want to get too close to anybody. You can kind of sense that about him. So his initial reaction is to push people away, which works well for where he's at because they want him to push people out the door. So he's going to have that reaction. But again, once you're under his umbrella, he's going to protect you, even though you're a screw up, even if he doesn't like you. If if you're one of his team, no one can mess with you except for him. You're his. So yeah, he's very for protective, but also very unlikable to the people that surrounds him. He's very un-PC. He's not politically correct, and he says, like I say, he says what he feels, and you get that sense about him. Yeah, I think everybody, I'm sure Mike, you're included. You've worked with or been around a character like somewhat like Jackson Lamb, who just says what he says. He doesn't have a care what you feel
You
or what
know,
society feels about him, but he seems to make his own
uh,
way,
uh,
and he's okay with that.
I think you just jogged my memory for some reason, and I'll say the
Hmm.
last name, and I think you'll know who I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about. But Steele, do
Uh-huh.
you remember that dude?
Yep.
Yep, that's
Yep.
kind of like that
Yep. Yep.
loosely,
Yeah.
like very very
Yeah.
much the
Yeah. He's absolutely
and
he does have that
in the most
that
enduring
vibe.
and positive way. I don't mean that
Hmm.
as a slight at all.
And and Gary Oldman was born to play this character. Now he's kind of described as this overweight guy that kind of blusters through but blusters through life. You hear him stamping upstairs in the office, but when he needs to be, he could tiptoe and kind of fade into the shadows and be the he's so you're constantly kind of guessing at how much of it is an act that he's portraying, and how much of it is real. Are his true intentions? What's really what he's thinking? Does is he? He's calling River a screw up. He'll never be anything. But is he just testing River? Is he pushing River to see if he'll break? And if he doesn't break, he'll become a stronger agent. He's trial by fire, so to speak. Is he putting all of his agents through a trial by fire and does that make that team stronger? Is he actually building building a team as opposed to breaking it apart? There's that interesting dynamic of, is he really the guy that doesn't care, or is it really kind of a facade to really bring out the most in the people around him?
Well,
Yeah.
well, the show is as much of up and down as left as right,
Hmm.
kind of thing. Like where
Hmm.
competence and loyalty, which we already kind of covered, can
Hmm.
emerge from the most unlikely people and places,
Hmm.
whereas incompetence and
Hmm.
betrayal come from a surprising part of the system that should have known better. Like that. Just it's just very interesting how it works. For Hopefully, I didn't give too much away, but there is a dynamic there that you have to touch on periodically.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, the one thing that hits you over the head immediately is the theme song, which is done by Mick Jagger, Strange Game. It's a killer song. I thought maybe it was like a Rolling Stones or a Mick Jagger song that they picked up, but the lyrics sounded to be absolutely about the show. Find out Mick Jagger is a huge fan of the book series, Slow Horses,
Yes.
and so he immediately wanted to do the theme song. I'm sure Apple pulled out the Apple bucks to pay for the theme song, but it's a killer song. I really enjoy that song, and most theme songs you kind of listen to maybe the first time, the first episode of the series, but it's such a catchy and likable song that I have to watch that theme song every time I watch an episode of Slow Horses. It's just a killer track. So if you're a big Jagger fan, it's worth worth checking out just for that song in and of itself.
That's awesome. Yeah, no. Well, again, one, I'm surprised I didn't even touch on it. I had wrote a note about it here. I almost forgot about it. I'm a big sucker for the cinematography and the world building. This is no
Hmm.
stranger to that. It's no wonder like it hits whatever it shows you in quality and depth. All along the line. Whether it's the soundtrack, like you mentioned, high quality, or for a friggin' theme song of all things. But it's just iconic. Everything about it is unique. So you get these very humbled characters, or characters who are on their way to be humbled, if not, and the ones who are not
Hmm.
humbled. Often it's kind of funny. The ones who are
Hmm.
kind of humbled are more likely to kind of figure it out, I guess, a little bit quicker, and the ones that are just arrogant and brash
Hmm.
are kind of dismissed. It's kind of
Hmm.
how that works, but
Yeah. Yeah, and even like yeah, I love Olivia Cook as Sid Baker. We don't maybe get as much of her as we would like. She's on House of Dragons. If you want a lot of her, great actress. Very cool that they got her to be in it. But there's so many cool little minor characters, or supporting characters, like Louisa and Min Harper. I enjoy their sort of budding romantic relationship that starts in this season. You want to see where that goes.
absolutely.
There's
So it was a surprise too. It's just kind of funny, but
uh-huh. And you have River and his counterpart Spider. Spider's in the at the park. Maybe he had something to do with River ending up at Slough House, but yeah, he's he's deliciously evil. And he kind of hides his incompetence behind River. And then like yeah, Lamb's antagonist is Lady Diana Travner. And she's deliciously evil too, but you cannot understand her point of view. Yeah, there's not anyone that's completely evil. Everybody's kind of shades of gray. in this. You kind of understand where she's coming from. She sees she sees Slaughterhouse and just regular people as disposable. Everything for the cause, which is the agency. The agency comes first for her. So if someone gets killed or is disgraced in the in the process, that's okay because it's for a greater good. Whereas Jackson Lamb has a different ideology. He's like, his agents are the key. He he doesn't want to lose any of them, even if they're screw ups. They're his screw ups, as as he likes to say. You don't mess with them.
Right, right. No, I agree. This is just really good cinema. Really, is what this is.
Mhm.
Just like one really big, long, awesome movie. uh,
Yeah,
it
yeah, and another cool thing is it's only 6 episodes a season, so it's kind of jam packed. There's not like
yeah.
a filler episode. There's not one where you go, oh, come on, really? Are we doing this? No, it's action from beginning to end. Like Mike says, by the end of the episode, you go, oh man, it's ending. Come on,
Right.
let's. I want to know what's
And
happening next.
it goes by way too quick. I'll tell you
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
From watching rewatching it. Which is
Yeah,
just
and I think the episodes they run around the 45-minute mark.
not bad. Yeah.
The some yeah, yeah, not a huge time sink. Some episodes of series are like hour plus on on episodes, and they kind of drag on other series, but yeah, this is sort of
The,
fast pace over before you're ready for it to be, which
re-
is a good thing.
reliably consistent throughout
Hmm.
the through the pacing to the attention getting to everything. So there's not like one kind of
Hmm.
filler part, which I love. That bodes
Hmm.
well for it. That means that there's going to be that two and three and four and five are going to be exactly like this one, like which is high praise. So go see this. Um,
Yeah, and one other thing, each season, um, they they film the season, and then by the time that they're putting out that season, they're already on filming the next season. They film these pretty quick. So as the season ends, you get a sneak preview of the next season because it's already being filmed, so they already have clips for it. So that's a nice little bonus thing at the end of each season. There's 4 complete seasons out. They're working on season 5. They're like I said, they've got 2 episodes out. They've already renewed it for a sixth and a seventh season, and I believe the seventh season's going to cover 2 of the books. I'm kind of interested to see how they do that. But yeah, it's like I said, I when I was watching it, I I kind of burned through those first four books since it covers the first 4 seasons to get to the stuff that I hadn't seen yet. And it's kind of interesting watching this newest season because I've now read the book first, and now I'm watching the season, and I'm kind of yeah, I'm probably with the people now that have read the books first before the series came out. I'm like kind of second guessing their choices on the things that they've changed.
sure.
This is the first time that they with maybe slight spoilers with the fifth season. There's a minor character in that book that they changed the gender of, and I'm like and in the latest book that character kind of comes into their own, and I was really enjoying that character, so it was a bit of a kind of what when they changed the gender. I wasn't happy with that, but if you're just with the series, you obviously won't notice that, but it's
That's
not a huge deal, but it was for me. But yeah, and but yeah, again, they do a good job of translating the book to screen, but always the book's always better. So I definitely recommend the book as well. The book series, especially if you love the characters and want more. Like I said, there's the books that kind of goes more into their heads, give a little bit more backstory to them, and then there's 3 other books that deals with some of the minor stuff and kind of digs
Bilbo.
in.
Right.
Yeah, there's a character that gets introduced in season, I think 2 or 3, that is kind of mysterious, and you really kind of wonder about his backstory, and that's kind of exposed in the book. in the additional books. And then also Nick Heron has another series called, I think, Cemetery Road,
Okay.
that Emma Thompson is in the new series for. As this series, season 5 ends, that new show is going to come out. So I'm going to try that show, and if I like that, I might go back to
Okay.
the books on that as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool stuff if you're a big Mick Huron fan.
Well, I was gonna say this. There was a it does have aspects of noir, quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
which I think
Yep.
also is just and I would not call this necessarily noir at all, but it does have
Right.
aspects of it that are very strong, hinted at,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of wrapped up
Mm-hmm.
in this classic thing because it's even more exciting because it's spies. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the
Yeah. You
action's
get your
perfect.
spy goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In it.
Yeah, the characters are
Mhm.
awesome. Like you cheer sometimes, like when you see the kind of the backhand, the comeback, or the initial punch between interactions, between like verbal punch. I mean, like but
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
And it,
go ahead.
yeah, reading the ninth book, that Clown Town, it was kind of bittersweet because you could kind of tell that possibly the 10th book will wrap up the series, or the book series. So there may be an end to the series as well, once we hit that. I think the showrunner Will Smith, not to be confused with the actor, but the British Will Smith, is the showrunner for the show, and I think he's left at season 6.
Okay,
So it'll be interesting to see season 7, see what happens once he leaves. But again, still based on books, so they have a solid foundation to build from.
right.
And again, great characters. I could go on forever on the show, but I think we're probably wrapping up, right?
Yep, yep. I think we've said all that there is to say. And I'll put us back up here to say goodbye. But yeah, no. This is a great pleasure to pick up, and I'm so glad that you kicked it over, and that we got a
Yep.
chance to cover it. But this was the absolute hell yes on the binge watch. Yes. And
Hmm.
I don't have to tell you that out
Yep.
there.
Yeah, it's worth grabbing a Apple subscription at least for a month to get through the series.
Yep.
Definitely. And again, it's great binge worthy stuff. It's not 20 episodes a season. You just have 6 episodes. And again, they're based on books. Again, it's just quality stuff. It's one of that series. Once you watch it, you're gonna have to turn your friends on to
Absolutely. Yep.
as
Well, I've
well,
been
so you could talk about it.
yeah, I've been
Yep.
Mike.
And I'm Tom. And sneak around in the shadows out there.